Hi there. I'm in the Caribbean this weekend and I wanted to share a few thoughts and observations on the state of UX and digital adoption in Latin America and in the Caribbean. Recent World Bank study states that LATAM and the Caribbean markets have some of the lowest digital technology adoption rates anywhere in the world. Nearly 360 million residents in the region don't use digital technologies available to them. I've experienced this firsthand recently when consulting one of the leading brands in the region. So why is that? Well, according to the World Bank's report, the lack of adoption is because of 4 barriers: irrelevant content, lack of ability, slow affordability, trust, and safety. I've recently addressed trust in one of my videos, so today I'd like to focus on the other 3. Let's talk about irrelevant content first. Research conducted at the Columbia Business School demonstrates that less than 30% of the content in LATAM countries is created locally. Think about it, 70% of the content is imported. This is the lowest percentage of local content development in the world. No wonder many people find the information presented to them irrelevant and unsuitable to their needs. Localized adaptation is something that I've always put at the top of my recommendations for companies operating internationally. If certain content works for you, let's say in the US or in Mexico, it won't necessarily work in Puerto Rico, Jamaica, Panama, or Argentina. Yes, the customer base may speak the same language, but you always have to account for local nuances, cultural and economic differences, and even idioms and colloquialisms. Otherwise, you may as well keep your content in the foreign language. The effect is going to be pretty much the same. Next, let's talk about the lack of abilities. It is important to understand that when it comes to tech savviness, there's a significant gap between digital natives, folks who develop or who import solutions from other countries, and your average local end user. This creates a problem that many solutions that work well in certain countries may struggle with user adoption in other countries. Users there may simply not be as tech savvy. This is where UX comes in, developing mental models as well as conducting user research and testing with local users, and I really want to emphasize local is the key. Keep things simple, test early, test often. Make sure that your solutions are easy to use in the intended geographic market. And finally, let's talk about affordability. While we may not always have a say on the final pricing, UX can still, at least indirectly, affect the affordability. For example, we often see that in developing markets, a large part of the population may only have a smartphone as their primary device, and it is probably an older model too. So make sure your solutions are well designed for smaller screens, limited capabilities, slower internet speeds. When a user doesn't have to upgrade their device to use your website or app, this will certainly help with user adoption. After all, lack of affordability shouldn't translate into lack of usability, usefulness, or convenience. Remember, good UX is good business, or as they say here, buen UX es buen negocio.